Nope. Nope. Not right now. Not feeling it. Maybe later. You know, I'm hungry for something different. A new sensation for my taste buds. Something... Oh! Fresh! Perfect! This is 2022's Fresh. Tick it off on the right foot, or is it the left? I need you to knows this is a full bladder spoiler nipu. Get it? Because it's like review, but it's funny because... Look, body parts are coming. If you're hip to know the full skinny and chew the fat, I got your back. But if spoilers aren't to your taste, you can totally come back after watching. With your eyes! While swiping for love, Noah lets us know how she's feeling.
I'm really fucking hungry.
On her actual date, the crab is more charismatic and charming than her date, and surprisingly more nutritious. Later, she blows off steam with her friend Molly, and they come to a very solid realization about romance in Disney movies.
Fuck Ariel. Fuck her. Fuck Beauty. Yeah, fuck the bees.
A very unsolicited dick pic leads Noah to late night shopping and an unexpected connection in the produce aisle.
Have you ever had these?
Grapes?
No, cotton candy grapes. They taste just like them, I'm not kidding.
What could possibly go wrong bonding over cotton candy grapes? Their first date consists of awkward intros.
Hi.
Hey.
I'm Steve.
Oh, Noah.
Toasting dead parents, and a little sexy time set against a mirrored wicker headboard. All this from a meeting over cotton candy grapes? Hell, that could be the next great dating craze. Their next date features Steve mentioning,
I just don't eat animals.
as well as an impromptu dance break. He brings up going on a surprise trip, and while Noah is game, Molly's good friend senses kick in.
Girl, you all digmatized and I haven't even seen this dude.
Their adventure begins with no cell phone reception, a very funky ass painting, and a scrotum chair. Extra wrinkly. Intimidated by the surroundings, Noah admits,
You're all like, you know, fancy cocktails, and I'm like pancakes out of a bag.
his fancy cocktail takes effect and shit hits the fan. After credits featuring a funky ass fish painting, Noah discovers Steve has gifted her the kind of jewelry that no one really wants. Hashtag forbidden jewelry. Then he doesn't pull any punches about the current situation.
I'm not gonna kill you right away, because the fresher the meat, the better.
So, act up and die quick, or behave and die slow. Wow, what a choice. As it turns out, she's not alone under Steve's unique brand of care. Elsewhere, Steve does his best risky business power slide and gets a leg up on some afternoon butchering. But he clearly takes great pride in his product, vacuum sealing for total leg freshness, and unlike other people's meat packing places, he doesn't use any nasty chemicals or preservatives. Shipping straight to your door, it's dedication and a free lacy bra that make his brand stand out against other back alley butchers. Later, he tries to rekindle his relationship with Noah.
I'm trying to make you laugh, and it's not working. Can you just give me one smile, please?
But she feels the need to break away, which ultimately leads to her literally losing her ass during a Peter Cetera song.
Don't leave me here with my restless heart.
Elsewhere, Molly uses the power of Google image search after things get sketchy. A follow-up lead requires a pouty lip, but it sets her on the right path. It turns out that besides slowly cutting women apart and selling those parts to the highest bidder, Steve is married, with a couple kids. She's unfortunately discovered and taken out as
Thank you for being a friend.
plays. After complaining about his day, Steve offers both life advice
Things don't always turn out the way you thought they would.
and what eating ass tastes like.
If it's done right, it's fucking exquisite.
There's a slightly disturbing sequence that makes me think of the famous line from Tommy Boy,
You can take a good look at a butcher's ass by sticking your head up there, but wouldn't you rather take his word for it?
and a conversation that I'm going to equate with Steve's experience of eating ass figuratively instead of literally.
But I couldn't stop thinking about it. I couldn't get the, taste out of my mouth. It's a very powerful thing. This whole world, if you only knew, is, it's about giving.
Of course, as with most things, Steve's whole setup is based around providing an illegal delicacy to the very, very richest assholes because apparently...
That's where the market is. Plus, women just taste better.
Steve has an attraction to Noah beyond eating her and invites her to dinner. This brings up one of the main questions of the movie,
Who's this?
as well as some decent anatomy puns.
You saved the breast till last.
Things get spicy as he shows off the possessions of the women that he turned into exotic burgers. They go from jailer and hostage to the only two people in the world as Richard Marx's docile tones play. Things get hot and heavy, and Noah gives Steve a taste of his own medicine. But weirdly, he doesn't seem to enjoy it. She frees Molly and Penny, and they make for the exit. Steve follows despite having a definite lean to the left. Like any good horror villain, he keeps on coming despite being stabbed, beaten with a meat tenderizer, and bitten. Ultimately, Noah gets her sweet revenge, giving Steve his just desserts, and the power of friendship is back on the menu. Fresh is a 2022 comedy thriller with Mimi Cave in her directorial debut. It stars Daisy Edgar Jones and Sebastian Stan, with Adam McKay, the director of The Big Short, and Anchorman as a producer. It premiered at Sundance 2022, and because of the subject matter, had a pre-screening reception instead of an after-party, which is rather understandable. Screenwriter Lauren Kahn wanted to write a movie that would appeal to both horror and non-horror fans alike. Fresh has been referred to as a cannibalistic rom-com, which is a very niche category that it certainly falls into. In the right light, it could almost be considered cute. There are moments of humor that do make you forget about the horrors of the previous scenes, and a good chunk of the dialogue is written in a way which, given a difference in context, could have been seen in a totally normal light.
It's a joke. It was a stupid joke. I'm trying, you know. I'm trying to make you laugh, and it's not working. You know, still the guy I was at the bar that night. Meant everything I said to you.
With the screenwriter's intent in mind, I'm conflicted on how to feel about Fresh. On one side, it has a level of gruesome that left me crawling in my seat. Despite the R rating, there isn't a ton of outrightly gory scenes, but the level of implied body horror lets your imagination do the rest. On the other side, this is a great satirical look at modern dating. I guess if you take one lesson from Fresh, avoid sharing cotton candy grapes with strangers in the produce aisle. If you watch, there are signs sprinkled throughout the movie of what's to come. They aren't Sixth Sense level hidden, but I did appreciate the little touch that they brought to the movie, especially if you don't know how deep the rabbit hole goes. There's the fresh meat sign in the grocery store and Steve's offhanded comment about not eating animals, just to name a few. The title doesn't appear until 33 minutes into the movie, and overall I really like that decision. If you had any doubts about where things were going up to this point, well, this was the bitch slap telling you that we aren't in the honeymoon phase of the relationship anymore. The soundtrack juxtaposes beautifully with what's happening on screen, as well as providing insight to the characters in a really fantastic way. I'm pretty sure Richard Marx, the Star Sisters, and especially Cindy Fee and the Math Club never expected. It stands out as such a vital part of the film experience, and I absolutely loved it. I could also appreciate the pun work in the scripting, which will either make you laugh or cringe horribly. There are a few subplots that could have been lost for the sake of timing, but personally, they really didn't take me out of the movie. The one thing that did was Noah's willingness to go along with Steve without knowing more about him. At one point, he talks about not having social media, but in the 2020s, I can't think of any internet-savvy person that doesn't do some looking into their potential love interest, especially before taking a surprise trip. There is the notion that without this point there wouldn't be a movie, but it felt like a weird script oversight in Noah's character that this wouldn't come up at some point. Either way, we can be grateful for Molly's spidey senses. Fresh is not a movie for everyone, but for me, there was a lot to love. It's funny enough to be very tongue-in-cheek about the state of modern dating, and horror enough to scare your literal ass off. So what do you think? Suggestions for movies, trivial questions, comments, ratings, and total avoidance of cotton candy grapes in all future pickup lines would be appreciated. Thank you so very much for watching.